Do you want me to have the video on? You guys want to see my ugly
You
mug?
can, yeah, whatever you want to do, buddy.
I,
Whichever one.
I'm doesn't matter. Really, what really matters. I would like to share an image with you guys of one of the many that I've taken over the years, and this one would be this year in May.
Okay, well, go ahead and share it out. You
Okay,
have the
so
ability
it's
to
going
do
to be
that.
pretty easy to do. Just let's look at. I think this will be the latest video. I just started posting videos again.
Okay, well,
And I'm using
let me
it.
find it.
So
If you can find it, you can share it from
Sasquatch
your
and
end.
megalith structures. You just look at that video, and
All right, I'm trying to.
I would have it mute. And when you get in there, um, it's opening image.
All right, hold on.
So it would be first, yeah, 30 seconds or so.
All right, hold on just a second. Let me get this video. All right, give me just a second. I'll share this out real quick.
If you guys want to see my ugly mug, I'll show it, but I don't really care. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? They talk about
right.
faces for radio. That's me. So
Oh yeah, face for ready. Okay, I got you up here.
yeah, let's just go to the very first video. You can mute it because it's not really. If you guys want to watch it, it's very interesting. It's a combination of Steve from Facts from howtohunt.com. He started a new back up channel, the round table, whatever. Gave a link there.
Oh yeah.
And this would be the image if you could put full screen. Now this is an image you see here of I took in mid-May of this year in my town, Sylvania, Ohio. Like I said, I don't worry about people showed up in my town. If you want to come looking for Bigfoot, and I just tell you, you're wasting your time because from my experience, they're just about everywhere. So anyways. It says here in a maple tree about 60 feet up across the street, filmed from my front porch. That would be, right now with me speaking to you, that would be to my left, southeast, about 50 yards. This is one of the reasons why I don't like talking about this stuff, because of every time I start talking about this stuff, I start getting visits, and I don't like it. So if there's anything,
visits,
folks,
explain visits. What do you mean by visits?
Yeah, well, it comes in multiple ways, fashions. So anybody's interested, you can certainly say a prayer for me. Now, this is if you look at these two images, this is about 60 feet in the air, and I ask you, I wish. Okay, so that was where we're looking at. That would be your left. I have a little outline of three entities. This is up in a tree, and then on the other side, it's got the very top three. Then the one to the left is two. Then the bottom is one. I ask you to take the time to carefully look at this image. Now, I understand that this is not. People talk about cloaking. They talk about it going transparent and that kind of thing. So, I took this about 5:30 in the p.m. that day, just in my front porch. I was sensing the presence, and it was after I was actually, I had a really rough winter because of my multiple sclerosis, and actually I thought I was going to die a couple of times this winter. So, and anyways, yeah, let's don't play it. Just go back there to pause, if you don't mind.
Just a second. Let me get this back.
Just go back, and when you get to, when you get to, there you go. Just stay there. You
All right.
Just don't have to go any further.
Cheese balls.
So this is with my P900. Like I said, filmed. It says there what it says. It says 60 feet up in the air, and a very mature maple tree next to the railroad tracks across the street from me. So if one can look carefully, there are three entities there. The front one that's at the very right, if you can look carefully, you'll notice let's think of things interdimensional now, spiritual. And people say, why is it so cloudy and why is it so distorted and why is it never getting any clear pictures? Well, it could be a reason, which I just mentioned, spiritual. But now this first one, man, is there a way of me, if I got, wish I could control the mouse for you so I could point out these things. Are
you on a computer or how do you?
I'm on a computer.
Okay, you can share out your computer screen.
How do I do that on my end?
Right at the bottom of the screen, it'll say, let me go ahead and stop this. It'll say present. And it has a little plus in the middle of it. And you hit that, and then you can share out your screen. You may have to give permission to your browser to share it out. But you'll be able to do it that way.
Okay. Well, we'll just use this. That picture of Saturn obviously is not it. We'll see.
Yeah, you got to share your screen first. I haven't seen it pop up yet.
Share.
And then pick whichever screen that you're trying to show.
Share. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Add to stream. There we go.
All right. Now, can we see? Oh, yes, there we can. Cool. Now, let me expand this for you guys because this is one of the things I discovered when quote-unquote Bigfoot Sasquatch, from my experience, and just as my own personal experience, I can't speak for anyone else, but they seem to come in different shapes and sizes, and especially when it comes to their heads, and some look more human, and some look more apish. And I'm just going to share this one image with you guys. Mm-hmm. If in the future I got more interesting ones. So anyways, we look here at the cursor. We got, let's go to the right side. This is subject 1, subject 2, subject 3. On the image to the left, I did a little bit of outlining. Let's look at subject 1. You have the lips. It has a rather larger than normal mouth. Lips. It has a bit of like a goatee. It has almost a human-like hooded nose. 2 eyes. You can see right here. There's an eyelid, eyes, eyebrows, wrinkles in the forehead. You can see there's the hairline, and then it goes up. So we'll just look at image 1.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. Can
you see him? You see the face?
Yeah, I can see it.
So that's subject 1. Now these are up in a tree, middle in the afternoon. Towards the middle of rush hour, I guess is what you would say. The trees have just started leafing out. This is not the original photo. I did change the color a little bit to help bring out the faces. Okay, in contrast. I do have the original photo. I'm more willing to share it with you as well. But I just wanted to show you these things. Subject 2 is maybe more what your traditional beat up old booger looking one. Think of a pirate or something like that, and a guy with snaggle teeth and a beat up nose and a ruffly beard and all that. Let's go back to, this is figure 2 where my cursor is. There's an eye, there's the nose, the mouth, right here, right? The chin. There is the eyebrows right there. You can see the eyes. Oh, strange. If we go back over to this one, you can see that this it's that would be its right eye seems to have been wounded, and this one is much. You can see it's the iris right there. If you can see this is where the forehead would be, and it's under this. This blurry thing is actually a long limb or branch off the tree.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now subject 3 is this one right here. This one's kind of weird because this guy, if you look at, it's got 2 eyes. There's 1 eye there, and why is this is that eye shine? This one has a bit of that eye shine right there. This one has the eye shine too going on, and there's a bit of an eyebrow right there, and it has this dark kind of fro-like hair style thing, okay? And its head, for the most part, is being hidden by subject 1. Now, I guess the question is it a Bigfoot? Or is it something else?
Well, my first question is, what caught your attention to take a picture of this thing or a video?
Well, remember I told you last time, and I know probably nobody could hear what I was saying because the audio was so bad. So, but I didn't have a computer at the time, and I was using a cruddy cell phone, and I didn't know how to use it. So, anyways, like I said, I don't know if I did say that or not, but this is mid-May. This sounds kind of bizarre, but I was in a very spiritual mood, and I was doing a lot of praying out loud and praising our Heavenly Father, God Almighty, the Creator, the Lord of all spirits, and I don't know, I was just in that mood. And I've noticed this whenever I get in, when people think I'm nuts. I know they think I'm nuts, but I just share my journey, and it's whatever it is, whatever it is. You know, I saw a shrink for 2.5 years, and she said it was one of the most sanest people she ever met, so I don't know what to say. But, and by the way, there's also something else going on right here. You can see the 2 dots right there. There's something else above that too, but we'll talk about that later. I guess, after having all these interactions and experiences in 2017, and you hear about people talk about when they know they're around, you can sense them. Mm-hmm. I started sensing that I was being watched on my front porch, and I was like, well, what do I do about this? Because I hadn't taken any pictures in a couple of years because I hadn't been focused on this because of what has been going on since 2020. I was trying to do my best to be a good citizen and warn people and all that kind of stuff, but that's another story. And I hope you can read between the lines of that, folks. So after everything that we went through in the past couple of years, I said, well, there's one thing I know 100% for sure. I don't care what anybody else says. I know 100% for sure. Sasquatch and Bigfoot is real. And why is that? Because I experienced it myself. More than once. That's one thing I can definitely put money in the bank. This is definitely, I held it to die on. This is something that I know for certain is real. So anyways, so after having this, being real spiritual and praising God out loud, and obviously when that happens, things get the ether gets excited and what else is in there. And I said, I am being watched. And if you, I got several very interesting images from that week, and in particular that day. And I said, maybe I should whip out my P900, and get my tripod and just take some pictures of where I feel like I'm feeling it. And so and as I told you before, from my experience and what I observed for a lot of folks is they don't spend time looking up We're so down. We're so busy, and I think we're conditioned and trained. I think we're designed to look down, and for whatever reason, so we're looking for footprints and we're looking for tree structures, and most of us are not looking up. Mind you, even the daytime, if we were looking up all the time, we would probably trip and stumble over something, right? We're not designed to be looking up. My sense is, my experience is that other things take advantage of that. Things that we call a Bigfoot or boogers or Sasquatch or whatever. So I sensed them, and so I decided I'd take some pictures. I didn't know if I was going to take any pictures or not. I just sensed it, and there, and I said, and then afterwards, I when I had my computer running, because what happened was, after what happened in May and June, the very end of June and July, a freak lightning storm happened and wiped out my computer. And fortunately, I was able to save some of my images and put them on, or already had on external hard drive. So just a warning for you folks, you're getting involved in stuff, make sure you get some external hard drive. Make sure you save your things on external hard drive, because the way the world works, and especially on that other side, they seem to have influence with electronics. And sure enough, they took out my computer. So it took me a long time. So this is the first time that I'm outside of my YouTube channel and a couple of my Facebook pages. This is an image that is first really shared with anybody. Most people don't say anything or don't respond, or they'll say this, that, or the other, because everyone has their preconceived notions of what they're supposed to be seeing. What I've discovered in my course in time is that, the journey is that this is a mistake, and that, if you're hoping for, these things, the spirit realm, and these entities come in many different shapes and sizes, and the association with trees is, it's quite self-evident with me. And it was interesting. I'm part Ojibwe and part Cherokee, and as a Ojibwe, I discovered actually this year, this summer. Finally, it's part of a Ojibwe tradition that these things are associated with trees. In fact, come in and out of the trees. I know, people say, "What are you talking about? This goes against all, the scientific method. This goes against everything that we've ever been told on how the physical realm works. You're out of your mind." But I have to tell you that for thousands and thousands of years, and for many, many, many cultures, they've been telling us all along, but they've been systematically repressed, that these things we might call interdimensional. Somehow they live off the life force of the forest itself, the trees, the roots, the leaves. Somehow there's a connection. And of course, I don't know how this works, because no one's telling me on their side how it works, but with we call them the star people, the stars, these opening portals, etc., that I've seen around trees, and I've definitely have filmed interesting things in the stars and in the sky, as many other people have. And so you're asking, and here's the other thing too. I've noticed up there, and when they're in like 60 feet in the trees, I know I'm going to regret this. I don't care what other people think about me, because it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? There's nothing that can be done about that. No, reputation is at the hands of someone else. I can't do anything about it. What I'm regretting is what's going to be coming down the road, me sharing this, because they'll make sure to, but I feel like it's important for me to share this stuff, not because I want your attention. I want your following. I want your money. I don't want to be part of any group. I'm trying to tell people, like others have tried to tell, that this experience we call Bigfoot, Sasquatch, it's much bigger, much older, much grander, and it's a bigger part of the creator's great design, and they are something that we have to start thinking outside the box if we want to understand it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this particular picture that you've got the doodling on. Do you have the original that isn't cropped and magnified?
It is. It is cropped, and of course it's magnified where we're at with this, right? Because first of all, it's on the screen, so. And I will, if you want to see the original, I'll give you the original. I don't have it right now.
Yeah, I'd love to see
I
it.
do have somewhere on my external drive, but I'm more than happy to share it with people. And you can see the difference where you'll see that it's much greener from the hue of the leaves. And this is now we're talking about how this whole thing about cloaking and how they absorb the greenery, the leaves and all that. And so what I had to do in order to bring it out, I had to adjust the hue and the color a little bit to bring out the what was behind the leaves. So, but I mean, I don't know if you see it. I mean, people talk about, let's go back to subject one. People talk about a lot of these when they have an encounter with Bigfoot, Sasquatch, booger, whatever, that they have larger than normal mouths. One thing that we're used to, right? They have a larger head to begin with, right? And they also have a larger mouth. If you can notice in this one, if you look at the two lips, the upper lip and the lower lip, you can see how its mouth and how it goes, and it goes almost even past the eyeball or the eye socket. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's got people talk about they have this blank grinning smile or grin to them. Well, there it is. And then if you look real close, it's got like this the hooded nose. I mean, you can, if you look real close, there's a nostril, there's the hood of the nose, there's the ridge of his nose going up. Then you have the eyebrows there and there. Then you can actually see eyelashes and then the eye shine of the eyes. It's interesting to say the least. And then his body looks like it's like a pirate that's been in a few battles, and the guy above him is like I said, looks like some dude with a giant fro with the eye shine. Mm-hmm. It's interesting above it too. You can see there's like an entity here who's got the two eyes and the nose. It's almost got like it's if you flip it around, it would be like a bat or a dog or a whatever. So what I've discovered, they're never alone. There's never just a quote unquote Bigfoot.
It's always like an entity or something attached to it,
and multiple entities associated with it. And so, and because it seems to me that they have. Well, I don't even say this. It's clear to me that they're associated strongly with the spiritual realm. And in the spiritual realm, and on the other side of the veil, I think I brought this up last time, you just think about ecology, diversity of life here in this physical plane. How I see it and perceive it to be when I'm witnessing is that on the other side, it's a billion times more grander or more spectacular than the creation on the other side. The spiritual realm comes in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
So I just wanted, I could have more, I guess, some mind-blowing images of that. For whatever reason, they allowed me to take this year, and I haven't been going out much after I have to be honest with you, after they wiped out my computer, I'm just like, I know I feel bad about this. I hope they don't take out my son's computer. So if you can pray for me and my son, because I'm using my son's computer, and I don't know when I'll have a computer again. But I feel like it's important that I start sharing some of what I know, because and you are willing. If you're willing to listen to me, I'm willing to share. So
Sure. So with these particular, on this day, did you go out after the fact of saying, "Hey, I felt this presence," and look around wherever you took this picture to see if there was any physical evidence, or did they revisit after the fact?
Yeah, well, it wasn't just these particular ones. This guy in the front right here is in 2017, December the 19th. I saw him, but this is part of one of my experiences. I saw him in my backyard. This one is right here. Then I'd love to share that story sometime, yeah. But when I saw him, it wasn't a profile. It was straight on and on. It was the front face, what they call it, not a profile, but a portrait. So I saw the portrait of him. So in his face looks very narrow. It's deceivingly narrow and long from the profile, but in portrait, wider face, and the nose is much wider. And then we're starting to say, well, it almost seems like ape-ish like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, as far as that, I did not, I didn't go run around and look for physical evidence and all that kind of stuff because I wasn't interested in it. You know what I mean? I knew they were there from what I was feeling, and then once I saw it in the picture, I'm like, well, for me, that's good enough. I've seen tree structures in my town and in my area. I've seen I haven't seen like the greatest of footprints, but then I haven't really been looking for. I don't care. I really don't care for the physical evidence. Because I've seen enough of other that demonstrates the physical evidence that most people wouldn't. How do I say this? Sound pedantic and pompous and a jerk. I don't even know why I'm the one that was chosen, why I was marked to know this stuff. It just was. And like so many other people, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, to be honest with you, at this point. I mean, it's been what I've gone through at times has been living hell because of discovering this stuff and dealing with, medicine men and women who are pissed off with me for taking this too far in the first place, 2017. So I don't know why they feel so threatened by it either. It doesn't make any sense, but I think a lot of it is just perception, and everybody seems to want to be an enemy. You know how it is in this community. It's like
there's always a bit of drama linked to just about everything you do.
And everyone says, community. They're right and you're wrong. Especially what I'm talking about right now, 99.9% of the Bigfoot community is, well, I have to tell you, they pretty much have ostracized me like several other communities because I'm willing to talk this way and by the way, I'm somebody who has a scientific background. I'm in environmental management and science. And in ecology, I'm a person that designed nature trails and wildflower meadows and bogs and et cetera, and planted numerous trees and worked on greenscaping. And so it's not like I don't have a nice scientific background. And believe me, if I didn't go through what I went through, I would probably be thinking like other people. I'd be saying, "Oh no, this can't be. I mean, this is your imagination. You need to go see a shrink." Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I did see a shrink, and she said it was about as normal and as about as sane as a person could be. So
I used to have a piece of paper where I had to do a psych evaluation on myself and said I was sane, but that was probably about 15, 20 years ago. So
well,
who
I saw
knows
this
what
lady for
happened.
2.5 years,
Oh, okay. Well,
and
she's
for
know.
every week, just about for two, unless she went on vacation or whatever, for two and
Right.
a half years. So, and it wasn't specifically about this issue. It's because of basically because being hit with multiple sclerosis. It seems
Oh,
like
yeah.
my life, well, in fact, it did dramatically change after that. And once that happened to me, a lot of windows were started to become were opened up to me, whether I wanted it or not. So, um, yeah. So I don't know if I don't know if anybody's got any questions or if you have any questions. I just wanted to point this out. Um,
So you mentioned earlier about getting visited. Are we talking like visited from the supernatural, or maybe a physical creature, or what? What were you referencing?
well, 2017, which I won't go into detail with the story now. Because, I mean, I could, I guess, but like I said, if we're going to have this conversation, if you don't mind giving me an hour or two to, and we'll if this is working, and is still working in the computer, I'm more willing to go from the beginning 2017 all the way to 2018 and the high strangeness. But the first time that I had my first close-up encounter, in which I saw one who we call Bigfoot, it was 15 feet away from me when it was crawling up the ravine, when I was standing
Mm-hmm.
next to a Crow Indian medicine man. Believe it or not, it just gets crazy. I tell you what, it gets crazier and crazier. The journey that was foisted upon me, but I think I encouraged it, not ignorantly and foolishly, but it is now. It is what it is. But yeah, where are we getting with this? What were you asking? What did I
I was
mention?
asking. I was asking. You mentioned that with you sharing this particular information, that you were worried about being visited, and I was
Oh
asking,
yeah.
visited by what? By
Well, like I
what or
said, this
whom?
guy right here, subject one in 2017, December 19th, 2017. I went through 3 days. This is when I discovered that spiritual warfare is actually real. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, this is the second time that I had a very close encounter with these things. And this was the same about, whereas the one before in the summer 2017 with that Crow Indian was like, it crawled up the ravine, got like 15 feet to us. This one was about the same range in my backyard. In my driveway, when I was getting ready to take my son to karate practice back then. And after that, it's like something opened up, and everyone, and it was like him and his buddies have been watching me and just waiting for the moment. And I went through 3 days. I even ended up talking to, there was a lady that's from your guys' neck of the woods. Her name is Dr. Erica Shepherd, and she's a Christian, and she's like someone who's into prayer and spiritual warfare and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because I like, what the hell? What's going on in my house? What's happening here? We're talking about like Mandela effect and strange things happening. Uh, and it's, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it all, but it is culmination that I mean, even these things attacked my son. I had my son those 3 days, spiritually, and so I started learning about in the name of Jesus for taking it seriously instead of just, you know, and the blood of Jesus and all that stuff. So eventually it was a 3:30 in the morning, about that bewitching hour, and my neighbor upstairs, he finally showed up from work, and at the same we're at the same moment, within minutes, there was one of these things in my front porch and also my front porch roof. I got really mad. did a little of this speaking in tongues stuff, which is more just, I think it's just screaming and yelling and F-bombing it and everything else and telling him to get the heck out. I think got freaked out, right? And it ran off, and that's my neighbor actually seeing it. The very tall, black individual, shadowy black Bigfootish. He didn't realize it was Bigfoot. I don't know if he seemed willing to accept it, but he did see it, and he thought it was somebody running around in our yard, and he went after him because what's this dude? What's this tall, real skinny, dude all dressed in black with a hoodie, right? That's just how he described it. Running around and walking all weird and everything in the yard. So he went to go chase after it. It was going down the neighborhood. This neighborhood where I live is on the border of Michigan. It's next to railroad tracks and leads into. It had towards the grain towers and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, yeah, and then that ended there. And after that, I got so mad, and I said no more. And then in 2018 is when, and I think some of the people that followed me, I love them, were really offended because I didn't know what I was doing at the time, as so many others. I was calling all these things demons and rebuking them constantly. I was going, listen, I was so mad. And people say, don't do this. But I was so mad what they put me through for not just those 3 days, but for those 6 months. I went back where the TP structure was, and I broke that thing down, kicked it all down. I went around the edge of the woods and wherever there was, rebuking these things. I was madder than heck because I felt so betrayed by these things. You know what I mean? Now, most people wouldn't say that, but, listen, I just saw my son turn white, ash, and start acting strange. I went through this whole thing for 3 days, where it was constant torment. It was constant stress. There was this, people talk about when you're under a spiritual attack, you'll get a really bad headache or a pain in the side of your neck. And it was constant, and it wasn't, some people say this physical, and maybe you're having migraine headache or something like that, or something side effects of MS. But I believe me, once I got that 3:30 in the morning when I had enough, I was actually in the room I'm in now, which is my son's room, and I had enough of it. I had enough of feeling afraid and tormented and threatening me and my son. And I just said, enough's enough. And I just said, the hell with it. And I just started screaming at these things. When I was screaming at this thing, we're talking this thing. I'm right now where I'm at. I'm about 5 feet from the wall, and it was on the other side. So it couldn't have been any more than 10 feet from me. Right. And I just had enough. I had enough. And then in 2018, I started going in the woods and started, rebuking these things in the name of Jesus and all that. And I don't know if it was the right thing to do now, but I didn't know what else to do and no one else to talk to about. And all these quote unquote Bigfoot experts. And then there was, the people who are Christians, they're all thinking I'm bad, nuts and crazy, making fun of me. I remember going to one of these Pentecostal, apostolic churches. They're supposed to do the healing and all this stuff. They made fun of me. I said, listen, I seen this thing called Bigfoot. I need some help. I realized I was on my own, and it's just me and God. So it was just like, there was no medicine men, there was no elders, there was nothing. And, the reason why I even believe in God today is my experiences with these things. In the name of Jesus. If it was based on we're studying the Bible and church and religion and what everybody else says, I probably wouldn't believe. Based on everybody's behavior and everything else that goes on. But because the one thing I discovered, and I'm not pushing religion on anybody. I could care less. But these things, for whatever reason, recognize the name Jesus. I don't know why. You could figure it out for yourself. I mean, we could talk about. I'm not trying to push religion. I'm just saying, if push comes to shove, I'm not the only one that said that. There have been hundreds, if not thousands, of other people that will say the same thing. So, does that mean that all of a sudden that things are going to be perfect? There's never going to be any more problems? Well, as I just told you, they wiped out my computer in the beginning of July with a freak lightning storm. But but this is going to be the course of the rest of my days here in this plane of existence. There's nothing I can do about it. To embrace it and accept it, and
So what was the message that these particular three beings that you got pictured here? What was the message that you received from them, or was it just a fear-based warning?
Oh, there were no mind speaker or anything like that. I just, that's one of those sixth senses of ours when you recognize you're being watched. And from my experience before being in the edge of the woods or going and doing, when I used to do Bigfoot research, I no longer do it anymore because I realize I don't have to go anywhere to actually see these things. I discovered all I have to do is start praising the Lord of all spirits and speaking out loud about, I mean, just you and I having this conversation and me speaking out loud, I'm pretty confident something's going to be happening. And it's never when you expect it, but it's soon after. It's like when I did that interview. So I was speaking, as really spiritually minded at the time. I actually took this the week before I had the interview over at Richard. Is it Richard? No, Steve of Strange Familiars, his show.
Oh yeah.
And I think I told you about that, and I was very disappointed because he chopped off half of what I said. That's why it's like after that, unless I can find someone who's willing to let me share the whole story, warts and all, including talking about Jesus, I don't want to be anybody's show anymore. I don't want to, because it's just like, and I'm not pushing religion on people. I just want to share my story. You know what I mean? You don't have to agree with anything that I said because there's none of the day I can't do anything about it. You don't have to honor me. You don't have to accept me. You can think I'm full of crap. In fact, if I didn't go through what I went through, I would be thinking I was full of crap. You know what I'm saying? But as far as a message from these guys, there was no voice. The only times I ever heard any audio and all the times my experience was the chatter, the samurai chatter stuff, and my name being called out once. Mike.
Right.
Just out of the blue when it shouldn't have been no one around. There was no one else around, so.
But Bansheeba's got a message or got a question for you. Do they reach when you pray?
Do they reach when you pray? What does that mean? You have to expand upon that. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. She'll have to.
Do they react? Is that what he means?
Maybe react. Oh, it maybe react.
I think so. I mean, and I can show you guys some the next time you let me on. And
well, if you got it, you can share it right now.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna this because these images are even more mind blowing. I didn't, There's more going on than Bigfoot when there's Bigfoot, okay? When you start talking about the Lord of all spirits and you start praising God and you start speaking out loud about this stuff, just like the Native Americans knew when they were praying to the Creator God, and when other people have experienced the same thing and strange things happen in other experiences, not just Christians, not just Muslims or Jews, but everybody that goes through this one way or the other. The ether, the environment, these things, it's like they're magnet. They're just like a magnet for them. You draw the spirit realm in, and what I'm disturbed about most of anything is I'm just a simple man, and I know my experience is not unique. And this story is not being told. Just bits and pieces of it.
Right.
Not the whole story. And I think this is whatever their agendas are, as far as the head honchos there in mainstream media and the government and the military. And if you guys hadn't figured this out, the television is part of the military apparatus. And that's not something to be questioned or opinion. It's always has been. It's been also an extension of the government. For some reason, the powers that be don't want you and I to know what's really going on. As long as you and I are fighting about whether it's a guy in a ghillie suit or a costume, or it's a gorilla running around in the woods, they're perfectly happy with that, because it's just we're back to religion and belief, and now they know they can manipulate us and cause us to fight and argue and bicker instead of, and it's one of the things I appreciate about Steve. Of all the things, at least, over there at, Facts How to Hunt, whether people want to think about Steve or not, at least he's not censoring people's voices. And that's what I appreciate about you too, Shawn. At least you're trying the best that you can. You know what I mean? I mean, it's if I shared this same story with 100 other quote-unquote Bigfoot channels out there or paranormal channels out there, I would have been shut down already. You know what I mean? Oh, no, it can't.
I'm prepared to let you talk about anything you want to talk about. Drop Jesus Christ's name anytime you want to on my show. Heck, how many times have I prayed on my own show?
Well, I know. That's why I feel confident that I can get away with saying some of the stuff I'm saying, because you're not going to, persecute me or judge me over it. You know what I mean? You don't have to accept what I said. I mean, no one has to accept what I say. It's the truth, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
in fact, I would be... I find that quite reasonable that you don't, if you haven't experienced what I've experienced, I don't, there's no reason for you to believe in what I said. We can see, let's see if we can find another image for you guys. I'm going to, maybe if I can find an image, a great example of cloaking. Is it in the back here? Sorry for all the pixelation, guys. Let's see if I can.
That's all right.
Wasn't this is all on a cuff. I saw that you were doing the, the StreamYard thing, and I was like, maybe I should hit him up before it's too late, before I lose my computer again. Where it be something. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, let's get there. This happened that same week, that same day.
So when you have this feeling, do they throw rocks or anything, or you just mentioned they vocalize a lot of stuff?
Well, I've only heard. Remember, I'm just having these experiences where you're not supposed to be having it in the middle of my town. All right, just not out in the deep woods and all that kind of thing. So, I've only heard once a tree knock. It was definitively a tree knock. And as far as rocks, when I was at the edge of one of the streams that goes into the main creek that runs through my town, I heard a very large boulder being thrown, like a warning sign. When they throw a rock, huge. And as far as throwing stuff at me, not really. I mean, if at me, there's times when it almost sounds like they're throwing pebbles or acorns or something at my place. But they don't. I don't mess with these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I do not mess with these things anymore because I know they're real, and I know they know that I know they're real. I don't have to go very far to have these experiences, and I know I'm not alone in this because there's nothing special about me. There's no I'm no grand wizard or shaman or have any great. There's nothing great about me. If there might be anything that I could say at this point that might be a little different. And by the way, thank you, Charlie, Ashley. Thank you as well. um, is maybe.
Well, she's got one. She's got one question there. It says, "I've heard the theory that compassion is the fifth major energy: water, fire, earth, air. Your thoughts?"
Well, that's interesting because I didn't even read that, but I was thinking, what's that one thing that might make me different? Humility. I don't think I'm all that special. I don't want to be all that special. I don't want to be your leader. I don't want to exploit these things. I don't want to exploit anybody else. I just want to know the truth like everyone else. And I know it sounds. I know maybe if I was 20 years younger, I wouldn't be talking this way because I would still have my get up and go in my swing and all that. You know what I mean? But you know what it's like. You have certain kind of tragedies, where it's health issues or whatever. Their life humbles you to the point you realize you're not all that. You're not all that big or important, and you're not all that small. You're just another critter in the force, if that makes sense. You're just another bozo on the bus, as they used to say at AA. I'm nothing special. So why am I the one interacting? Why is it happening to me? At this point, probably because I accept it. I just accept it. It's real. I know it's happening, and I don't. It's not like, when I first started this journey, like 2017, I was like everybody else, full of blank and vinegar. I had it all figured out, having arguments with people and saying, "Oh, you're wrong and this and that, and you're, you're." And now I just, and I've been deceived by a lot of people, but I think it's just you just accept that this is a part of the greater reality, and you have to accept the fact that the rest of the world around you, for the most part, is not going to accept it, and they're not going to accept you. And so it's kind of like one of those things you just, like so many people before me, millions of people before me, and people in this room, have experienced it, just had to live alone with it, and just that knowledge of knowing it, dealing with it. So, humility, compassion, I have a different attitude with these things today, whereas I used to think they were all demons and they were all evil and it was rebuking all the time. Now I'm just like, these things, there's some evil ones, or they do evil things, and there's ones that, I've been in their presence and didn't feel any fear, and didn't fear any of that dread that people talk about when you're experiencing pure evil. And the problem really is not them, it's me not understanding fully what I'm dealing with, and not having anybody, and I don't think anybody actually can do this for us except God, the Creator, whatever you want to call him, or her, or it, whatever it works for you. The Spirit, this great Spirit. I think the only one that can walk you through this fire, this is Him, is it, and them. And then you kind of learn that, it's like, well, probably most of them, they're ugly looking compared to what we, and they're kind of offensive looking at times, and they might stink and smell. But has any of these really personally hurt me? No. Has any one of them actually damaged me or threatened to kill me? No. Now, did they torment me those 3 days? Yeah. And if I would have known better what I was actually dealing with, it might not have been for 3 days. Maybe it was necessary for me to do that, to come to really believe in God and in the spirit realm, you know what I mean? For whatever reason. Because I probably, if these weird things didn't happen, I probably wouldn't believe. I would be like, oh, so you say it, so, whatever, that's what you believe, right? Like anybody else would do, right? But now I know And it's like so many other things in life. You once you know, these are, there are, especially when it comes to spiritual realm and these in the supernatural realm, which people make fun of because we've been conditioned through the public fool system to think that none of it's real. You can't expect other people to embrace your journey because of where they're at in their path. It's not because they're bad people. It's just because they've been. Hey, look, I wouldn't believe the stuff either if I didn't go through it. I would think this was bat guano crazy. You know what I mean? I would say, maybe you should go see a shrink. But, it is what it is. And so I think it's just embracing it. Now, believe me, there's a lot of times when I don't like spend too much time in my front porch because I sense the presence of others. And I prayed and had done the holy oil and everything else. And then you just come to terms to say, you know what? They're there and they're not going anywhere. I'm not out to get these things. I'm not out to try you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's like they're part of the decor, they're part of the environment. To me, not to be disrespectful, but they remind me of the squirrels and the birds and the animals. They're just part of the creation. And yeah, at times it doesn't feel good to have these things staring at you. You say, hey, dudes, can you leave me alone? I've had enough of this. You know what I mean? And other times, they're not there, and it all depends on the night, the day, but they're there. I mean, and I strongly believe, and it turns out that my elders, I didn't even know this, but it was something that I was taught for seeing that these things live in the trees. Somehow, some way, they use the life force of the trees. And so, but anyways, this is one image I want to share with you. This is the same day or the day after. Now, this is across the street. Now, this is, you can see it's magnified. I use my P900. There's the maple leaves. Now, I don't know if you've got, and I did not change the color at all on this one. You can see, still got the green and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys can see this entity. Well, there's the eye. There's the iris. There's the eye. There's the eyelid. That's the upper part of the eye. You can see the olive shape of that eye. And you can see it's almost, and by the way, the camera's not being moved. It's on a tripod.
Okay.
So then if you see all these long things going on here, there's actually an entity right here too, the smaller. You see the two eyes, the dome head, and it's not by itself. But the thing is, you definitely, there's another eye right there. Now you tell me what that is. Now people talk about seeing giants, right?
Right.
Now the question I have, and I've done a lot of study on pareidolia or not, and this does not qualify as pareidolia in my book. So how the heck? And here's the thing: I didn't see it with my naked eyes, but I knew something was over there. Therefore, I aimed my camera over there and took pictures. I knew there was something over there looking at me. Now, what is it? I mean, you could see the tree branches. You can see the definition of the tree branches, the tree leaves. You could even see some of the green and all that from the trees and all that. And you can see that there's distinction. There's a separation. There's something different with this entity that's in gray from what's around it. And there's the white.
I can see something in the background behind the green foliage. Sort of looks like head, shoulders, and a very large torso, but it's obscured by the green.
Well, it was interesting because somebody else has said the same thing. They said that they see more than one entity. which
What's his
because
entirely
like
possible?
because you can see something. I mean, I don't know. You probably can't access. Is it right here? Is it right there? Oh, you guys, there's yours. Show me where you're looking at.
What's that? I don't.
Yeah, put your.
I don't have a.
You had something there. Oh, that was not you. Okay. Is it in
Yeah,
this
wasn't me.
area? Is it just right here?
Right there where your arrow is right now is
Do
what
you
I
see this?
saw. Now there's some stuff over here in the other, the left of it in that open patch there. But
Yeah, there's multiple entities there, but the one that stands out for me is the big head, the big eyes, and then you guys take it from there. But there's what have noted, and by the way, I've seen this entity before too. I filmed this something very similar to this in 2017. So one of the things I'm thinking is that this area has maybe its own resident. I don't want to say resident evil. We'll say a resident spiritual realm. Like they have just like their turf.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they don't, or at least in the spring and the summer, they're here. Or in the winter, I should say too. I shouldn't say.
So are they more active during certain parts of the year, like spring and summer, or fall and winter?
I think so. I
Moon
think. Well, I don't. I
phases.
don't think. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't know that. Well, I only can tell you if I really look at the totality of things. I've had it happen in the wintertime. I've had it in the spring. I've had it in the summer. There seems to be some common features going on. Humidity seems to be one thing. A lot of well, I talked to you before. Certain angles of when the sunlight is going through the trees. Like this, like I said, this is this between this 5:30, 6 o'clock p.m. time period. That's that week, and when I was filming these things.
Like in the evening time when the sun's about ready to set, and you get that
Well, if you're thinking of
unique
May in
angle.
that time period, the sun would be, if we're looking at a clock and you're facing the sun, goes facing south, it's going to be at, facing south, it's going to be at the, like 2 o'clock, the 2:30, that hand. Does that make sense? It's not quite got the 3, and it's not quite going down. It's at, so in May, the light, it's staying light. It's probably about what 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30 in that time period. So it's in between 7:30, 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the lights. I have to go back and check it, but it say it's about an hour and a half before the sunset. And I also noticed it's in the morning. And maybe next time I'll share some of those images if you're willing to give it to me. And we'll talk about in the morning some of those images and what things I filmed in June.
I've got a screen grab that's been enhanced a little bit of what you're showing right now. Hold on just a second. I'll pop it up and I'll bring your. You don't have to remove.
I can't see the comments. Does people see what I see, or am I? Or did they?
Yeah, they're seeing it. They're seeing it. They're seeing it. I've got. Hold on a second. I'll show it. What we've got here. Get this up and running. Can you? This is like an enhanced, cropped version of it. Can you see it on the screen?
Oh yeah! Look at that head. Look at great eyes. You can see it. I can see it right there. You're talking about this dude, right? There's a dude in front of the
eye bridge and stuff
right
like
there.
That.
This guy right here.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. You can see, like here's the eye, and here's the brow of the eye, brow ridge there. And I can also see something right here. There's like an eye here, and like a nose.
Let's go back together. What did you see? You're seeing the eye. You seen the eye and the brow ridge.
I see right here.
Can you see the pupil? Can you see the pupil and the shine right in the middle of the sun?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
right there. But there's an eye here, and like a nose, and it's like in the behind this figure,
or before it, or whatever. The problem we're dealing with the spiritual realm is coming in and out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't sit around for you to have a family portrait, and that's the thing too. Not usually, although I have had a couple of experiences where they're popping out, their heads popping out behind a tree or a tree stump, and I'm like, what? So totally see eyes, deep set, brow ridge. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, so and this happened that same week, and this is the same week when I was, I survived a really tough winter. I seriously, I don't know how many times I thought it was going to be my last day. I thought, I was talking to my son actually prior to this, actually,
All right.
and his mom, and preparing for because I didn't think I was going to make it through the summer. Here I am. Uh, but I was like, preparing, maybe Chase, my son, should start taking um, his some of his stuff to your place because if something happens, I don't know. But it didn't happen. It's always in God's hands, isn't it? But I used to, I never think. But during that time period, super spiritual on my end. And when I say spiritual, I'm being grateful to the Creator. I'm thanking Him. I'm asking Him how His day is. I'm really, the Lord of all spirits. I'm really positive. I'm making up songs, chants, my own thing, my own voice.
Yeah.
And
All right.
things just went wow, and it happened again. And like, there is a correlation between this, for me at least. I can't say it can be for everyone else because I can't walk in your shoes. But for me, when I'm starting to really focus on the Creator, and I start talking about the Lord of all spirits, the Creator God, and I don't know, man. I used to be really judgmental to a lot of people about this, that, and the other, and their walk and whatever it may be. And after all this, you know what? I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to judge anybody more about it. Everyone has their own walk, and I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I'm not more righteous than anybody else. I'm not anything. I'm just another critter in the forest trying to get through another day, hoping on the other side there's the greener pastures, right? In the meantime, in this valley of death, whatever, just darkness, you just have to get through it. So, and just embracing this part, I think when I was starting to accept, there's another thing I noticed too. When I embraced this and said, "Okay, it's real," it's like. And you hear this from other people too. They'll say, "Yeah, once you get to this point, where's the humility, or just a more positive vibe, that more things are revealed to you, and you can stomach things." Because when you first see this stuff, to us, it's like seeing, it's like being in a cave full of ugly insects. I know this sounds terrible, but. Because they don't look normal. They're not what we're used to. We see them as monsters, right? Based on our own understanding. And at times they probably are literally monsters. Just like human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you just get to a point, you're just like, it's just part of the creation, and I just have to accept it. Even though the rest of the world around me won't. Or not everybody, obviously, but for the most people, how could they? How can you accept my reality unless you had something similar? You know what I'm saying?
Well, in my near-death experience, the angels that I had interacted with looked horrible for the majority of it. They could assume pleasing shapes. They could assume just about any shape they wanted, but to describe them, they looked horrible. Monstrous at times.
I believe you. I honestly, my impressions from where I'm at today, those images, those cute, cherubim like angels that the Vatican's trying to push, or what the Mormons and everybody else trying to push.
No,
I don't think that's what that's on the other side actually looks like. I wonder
no.
if some of us, like, I wonder because maybe I'm like in my latter stage of my life, that I'm being somehow prepared for what's on the other side. Maybe this is what this is too, a possibility of, you say, so when you're on the other side and you see a 50-foot something or another, that's, you've been trained your whole life to be a monster when you're on the other side, and you're like, whoa, so that's who you are. Oh, okay. I've seen you before. I survived that. You know what I mean? So those are a couple of my images and a couple of my takes. I have some mind-blowing images, though. Really detailed images of entities. And I don't want to take up all your time and take up everyone's time, but
I'm prepared to spend a little time with you if you want to. That's up to you, or we can talk offline or off the show and then arrange doing an entire 2-hour show with you, or a 3-hour show.
Everybody away.
I come to the conclusion that chasing the truth is.
If you want, if you give me 5-10 minutes, maybe I could find a few more very interesting images to share with you. But I think we've been going for how long have we been doing this? An hour or so, or more?
Probably about an hour. I would say a little over an hour right now.
Well, you guys give me a break and all that, and I can come back and share maybe a couple more images with you.
Sure, if you want to take a break, we can. I've got a few other things to go over. Shelly sent some.
What do I do? Can you mute me? No, I can mute myself. Okay, I'm going to mute myself, and then thanks.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and remove this one. And let's go back. Shelly sent me a couple of images. Well, hold on a second. Let's go back to the image that she sent the last little bit here. Let me save that to download and open this up. I'll share this. Is actually based off of what Mike just sent or shared with us. So let me stop sharing that window, then open up my window here. And we'll get into it a little bit more. Can I show both? I don't know if I can show both. Let's see. Give me just a second. It's preview. Let's see if it'll pop the preview up. Will it? Nope, it won't show both at the same time. It's for whatever reason it's not sharing it. But So anyway, what I am seeing here, we'll just go back from, I'd have to stop sharing it, but this is the original just cropped in from showing the brow ridge and stuff, and then the other one was enhanced coloration. So with this particular one, right here, from what I understand, or what I can see, there's a brow ridge and there's like a eye shine right here. I see a couple of eyes, if not more here. There's, now that I can see it from this coloration, there's quite a bit of stuff. Now, is all this pareidolia? Sure, why the heck not? But I do see a brow ridge right here, and I do see a big old freaking eye. And probably the cheek, the high rise of the cheek right there below this eye. And then you can see the well-defined, and you can see maybe the part of the nostril right in here. I don't know if I'm looking at it correctly, if you see anything like that. And it's in the side-by-side. Okay, that's cool. Appreciate that. And we'll get side-by-side and see if there's I can see. I wish I could show this. Wait a minute, I could probably, hold on just a second. I actually have a computer program that will do that. Got a Photoscape here, and then we'll open up both of these. And then open, come on, boy. Son of a gun. Let's see, download. That's what I'm looking for. Downloads. Shawn's MacBook Pro. Download. Aha, there we go. Save that to downloads and then perfect. Open that one up. What in the world can I do? Hold on a second. I'll do this right here. Pop this up here. Yeah, okay. Sorry about this, folks. It's part of the fun of doing this on the fly when you find some interesting stuff to share. So here, let me go ahead and stop sharing here. And then thanks, Shelly, for sending that to me. She was kind enough to crop them both together at the same time. So here we go. See if I can, yeah, there you go. A little bit bigger on both sides. You can see, let me enlarge this to full screen here. There you go. So you can see, actually the coloration, how do you open your third eye? I have no clue. I couldn't tell you, Holly. So on the right here, grab this up here. You can see a little bit here. Let's see. Okay, what I'll do is I'll crop out some stuff here real quick and do downloads. I'll try my best. Let's see. Downloads. Or not. What the heck's going on here? Yeah, all right. I think you got it now. Maybe. Son of a biscuit eater. Shawn's. Give me just a second as I'm doing this. I know Mike's doing his little thing. Template audio high. No, I don't want to go there. Why can't I do that? Hold on just a second. Cancel this. I think I can do it this way then. Copy, save to download, open the image here. Yeah, image. And then go down here, drop it here. And then I can crop all this crap out right here. And there we go. Crop perspective crop. There we go. All right. Now what I'm going to do is share this screen, which has got everything cropped out, I think. Close. No, don't close, son of a gun. That ain't right. What the heck, man? Open. Oh, well, there you go. Yep. I think I can do it this time. Aha! Here we go. Save download and then go this way, open it this way, and then click and nope, I didn't do it. So again, what the heck? Templates, nope. Well, let's see. I can do it this way. There we go. Now we can crop this out, and I will show you the screenshot here in just a little bit. Crop. There we go. Awesome. Now I can do it. Let me share this with you guys. Thanks for holding on for just a second.
Share screen here. I'm back.
Oh, okay. I'm going to show a cropped version with both of those particular things. Screenshots of what you showed earlier in two different, colorations kind of deal. And I can increase the size to just about anything I needed it to do. But there you go. Here you can see, like, if you can see, does it show this? Yeah, it does. Cool. You can see it on the screen there. I can flip back and forth real quick, actually. Go here and here, back and forth. You can see eyes over here. And then whatever this is, I think there's probably, like I said, multiple entities there. And I agree with you. Once you get into the spirit realm, 3D, 4D, 5D kind of melds in together, and you kind of wonder, well, what in the heck am I looking at?
I'm kind of on the fence.
Oh, yeah, there was mine.
At times, I think it might be a bear.
You've got my audio in the background there.
Yeah, I'm trying to turn it off. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
It was my fault.
That's all right.
If you're interested in something that's going to be a pretty mind-bending, mind-blowing experience, I'm ready to share.
Okay.
Share screen.
Let me stop share. And add this.
Now
there you go.
Gotcha. This is one of my Facebook groups. Everyone go join if you want. Share your images, whatever. It's just called Bigfoot as a Spirit. And you can see this stuff. You can see these images. This is something that I took. Let's see. What's it say here? And I said evil looking, and it is evil looking to me, but that doesn't mean it's evil. It just means evil looking. It seems like Bigfoot and Buddy. Anyways, you can look at that. This was back. This was not in June. I'll show the June images another time, but this is in May the 21st. So this is like a week afterwards. So, and this is in my neighbor's yard. Let's see if I can expand this. How do you expand this? I'm going to start. There's two entities here. I think we'll start with. This is the rooftop of my neighbor's front porch that lives behind me. If you look real carefully, there's a big black eye here and big black eye here. There is a nose right here, and you look at this. There's mouth and his teeth. But we'll go with the baby one first. This is one that I filmed in a tree. On top of the tree there, was a magnolia tree, I believe it was. That's what it is. Or is it a cherry tree? I think it's cherry tree is what it is. If you see the size of this entity, before we might not be able to see it yet, but I will point out this. But notice the leaves, the size of the leaves, to give it scale. Right. So it's not big, right? So I think it's some big monster. There's one black eye here and another black eye here.
Sort of looks like a skull, maybe.
Well, there's the head, right?
Yeah.
There's the hands. You can start seeing the hands. There's a hand right here, and you can see it. That's a fingernail. There's a hand right here. A hand right here. Fingers, I should say, to a hand. There's the mouth. Now I don't know if this is one of those things. Now, Now the Jibbawas, they talk about these certain entities, and these, the people talk about the edge of the forest. Be concerned about the edge of the forest. People beware of the edge of the forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they do talk about, they call them the evil ones. They do Wendigo. Oh, I don't want to say that. Don't say that. You guys know where that is. Don't say that. So we said it once. That's it. Anyways, and it might be superstitious or whatever, but if you say that too many times, you'll end up having problems. That's what they say. Whether it's true or not, I don't want to find out. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but if you can see, this is like, some people say, well, that's a demon, or I don't know what it is. All I know is it's an entity, and there's no creature in my neck of the woods that even looks like this. This cannot be a baby opossum or raccoon or anything like that, or a baby flying squirrel, anything like that. You can see where it is. It's nestled in these leaves. It's a little blurry because I'm not, resolution is losing as all the different sources that you use. And I don't. Do you see the eye? The big red
Let's
black
see.
people.
One up in the upper left-hand corner.
There
Is this what
is
you're talking
there.
about?
That would be the retina. This would
Oh,
be
okay.
the whole eye right here. There's the other eye
All right.
right there. It's nestled in there.
So it's got like a black iris, is what you're
Yeah, I think
swearing.
people talk about what aliens look like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I know it's not the traditional looking of what people say aliens look like, but that doesn't mean they aren't similar or the same thing. One of the things I've discovered from mainstream media and for what they push on us, that pretty much a lot of their images that they want to push on us, that they want to sell to us, are maybe not as accurate as they are portraying. Okay, that's my perception of things. Am I right?
Well, they got it so refined, filtered. All the stuff that, like, if you take space photos, they've already filtered and re-imaged and CGI'd it until it hardly looks like anything. And then they'll say, "Well, we've got this is an X-ray vision of this particular galaxy or star or whatever." But
Right.
that's not actually the real image. So yeah, I get what
That's
you're talking
absolutely
about.
true. I mean, I could show you some fascinating things that I filmed in the stars, entities. Anyways, I did not. There's no color enhancement. This is about 60 yards from my back entrance in my neighbor's yard. In my neighborhood is full of large, very mature maple trees, silver maples and ashes and walnuts. And I think there's an association with them. These very more mature trees
Mm-hmm.
and having these kind of interactions. I think I'm just our ancestors, whether Native American or even European ancestors and etc., always talked about the man in and not only the man in the woods, but the man in the tree, right? The tree man, the green man, etc. There's a lot of different names for it, but anyways, um, this is not color enhanced. This is, like I said, 50 yards away. You can see the size of the leaves. Notice that we might say, how they blend in or being camouflaged or absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to, because this is a larger one of these things. That some say is maybe one of the evil ones. I don't know if that's true or not. But you can see, and what's weird about this one is kind of like the cross between this bug and alien-like thing some people talk about. It's the primatus thing, or whatever. Almost looks like a primatus. This thing is nestled in these branches here, right? And the leaves. The roof here, this would use this roof in the front porch, so it's easily 12, 14 feet, going up to about 16 feet. So if you just have this, you just at least this is the height of we'll say, to be conservative, about 15 feet. Sorry about that, folks. It's from my friends from Australia. We're on Facebook too, so sorry about that. So I took it because it was easy to grab. We can expand upon it. You can see there's this strange, this like, what I noticed with this entity, because it's like this one right here, the eyes popping out, and that's sunk in, and there's almost like, you think of like a bug's eyes popping in and out independently. This would be kind of like where the nose would be. You can see the kind of strange, like, teeth-like to it. Let's see. It's not my only images. I just grabbed these because they were just for access. I just wanted to show you something a little different that's in the trees and in the woods. And I mean, you tell me what it is.
I honestly couldn't tell you. Let's see. I've got a screen grab. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it negative. I can't really see anything negative on that. Oh wow! This really brings it out. Let me show you this. This is actually
did you get
not this particular picture.
Did you get the smaller one that I call the baby?
Yeah, the smaller one. Yeah, hold on just a second. I'll share this out. Yeah, that one. I've got that one. I changed. Let me share this out. Thanks, Shelly, for doing that. But here's what I've got. If you can see that, I flipped it to black and white there. And I can do all kinds of different little things. I can bloom it out a little bit or whatever. It looks alien to a certain extent. You know, what we were conditioned to think what aliens
people,
are.
They talk about, and they talk about there's a connection in the spiritual realm with who? Aliens and Sasquatch, right? You hear it all the time.
Right.
And orbs. When I filmed this, it was the 21st. I don't remember now. I do remember this. And this was like in the morning time. This is about like around 11 a.m. And I was doing, once again, I was talking out loud, and I was singing and whistling and talking to God and all that, and just in my back. And I just started taking stills, and this is just some of the things I filmed that morning. So,
yeah. I don't know what it is, but it definitely doesn't look like you would think would be out of forest.
If you could go back to my screen share, and then you can see them, the three pictures together.
All right.
So, just for whatever it is, so you can take a screenshot if you wanted that. If that's put them together. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I got a Ojibwe and Cherokee in me. My big brother's seen Sasquatch in Humboldt County, no, Butte County. It was real close to where Brown Dwarf is, and where there's a lot of sites. It was real close to where the Patterson film. He saw Sasquatch with his oldest son when they were horseback riding They saw them on the other side of the stream. And that one seemed more physical, if you will, than spiritual. He said that they actually was messing around with a big tree trunk. It looked like it was looking for grubs or whatever. And he seen as a young child these little green men. He called them little green men. Now, is there a possibility that what we're looking at here could be what people are perceiving as little green men?
All right.
Or aliens?
Possibly.
And people describe these things, some as looking like primantises. There's some looking, they got big black eyes and a big head. And, I wish I was making this up, and I really wish I was, that what I'm seeing is not what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? It'd be a lot easier. But but I also feel that it's my responsibility to share with people what's might be really going on out there that the others aren't really talking about. And I talked behind scenes with a few of the guys that have been around for a while, and they, off camera, off audio, they say, yeah, there's a lot more going on than what we're letting on, because A, they don't want to deal with the ridicule, and B, even more importantly, they don't want to deal with what comes along with sharing this. I know that things are going to happen that I don't want to happen, but I hope that these things realize I'm not trying to betray them. I'm trying to expose what's really going on.
So, do you have any military presence or anybody like Men in Black or anything like that come around, or you have odd people that come
had dudes,
come out?
Dudes in their khaki pants. Some people call them black water dudes, or special ops guys go through my garbage. I've seen them. I'm like, what the heck are they doing in my garbage? What are they trying to hope to find? And because really, I have the most boring life you possibly could find. But like I told you, they took down my channel on the 6th of January, or July, 6th of January last year, along with thousands of others. But I had nothing going on with politics or anything like that. I was just warning people and sharing what's going on in spiritual realm and spiritual warfare and that kind. And they just took down my whole YouTube channel. I used to have thousands and thousands of subs. I can't even. You can see all the videos I posted since, and it's like I've been so shadow banned. So something I'm saying or doing, somebody's concerned. Why? Well, they're not telling me, so I don't know. I don't, except that maybe I'm talking about something that we shouldn't be talking about. Maybe they don't want us to be talking about. So, let's see if I could.
I've got. Hold on just a second. Let me make sure I can. That one picture that you just highlighted and did all that illustration upon. Let me share this out. All right, add this to the stream. What I did was I just took out the green and kind of enhanced it a little bit, and you can really see it's almost like it's got a beard. The eyes and the beard.
Got like these teeth that like buck teeth, or like it's almost like it's plants, like plant based, like the mouth and everything. It's like it's something. It's like it is part of the tree, that, if that makes any sense. My impression is that these things absorb the life force of these trees, somehow transfer that energy into themselves, and when they've done enough of it, they could even manifest in the flesh. You think about it, trees, and you start thinking like neurons in your, somebody who has MS, what I have is, deterioration of the myelin sheath, or my nervous, the webbing of them. And if you look at neurons, um, think of the trees as like the neurons, the neural links, these, they're connecting the ether to the ground and to under the ground into the water with its branches and with its roots, right? And these things,
Right.
and we'll think a little bit now of perspective of, say, how the Abrahamic faith view things when it comes to spirits and jinn and whatever. This whole thing about possession and how people, these, not all spirits. I don't believe all spirits are this way, but there are certain spirits that want to attach themselves to us and to other life
Actually,
forms.
I have commented that in private. I can see sometimes during the day, I can see these, parasitic blobs that run around, and they look like they want to attach to something.
Yeah,
And like amoeba, almost like amoeba, but not exactly amoeba kind of looking things.
and it was
But
interesting
yeah.
is that the Holy Scripts compare human beings to trees. In fact, they describe people. You remember when uh, the man receives his sight, and God rubs the spittle and mud in his eyes, and he says, "What do you see?" I see men that appear as trees.
Hmm.
And then you just think about that the trees and plants, everything has its own life force. Um, and if you are an entity, some people call them archons, spirits, whatever, demons, devils, whatever. There's multiple names for it, but these things have in order for it to manifest more into the spiritual realm or the physical realm, they need something to draw that out. You know what I mean? And since if
Mm-hmm.
it can't be in human beings or animals all the time, well, what's the most abundant thing in this world? Trees, bushes, grass. I mean, maybe another time I'll show you what it looks like a baby Bigfoot manifesting out of the ground, the head, and you'll see it. It's not some blurry thing. It's clear as day. And how does this happen? How is it that these things not only pop out and in out of trees, but travel through trees and branches, and the trees don't always break? And so, what's going on here is much more complicated than just tree knocking and just, uh, you
Well,
know,
here's me thinking out loud. Tree knocking. Could that be possibly a portal within a tree or bush or something like that popping open, and you hear the wood knock,
I
and that's
think
what we interpret it?
we're real close to it. I think we're both close to it. I think when you think about, a lot of times people end up seeing things after they hear tree knocks, or they start feeling things or hearing things, right?
Hmm.
Something parallel following you, or something, I don't know if it's necessarily chasing you, but around you. What if, and this is, and I'm saying this because I've seen these things that we call Sasquatch and Bigfoot, or at least look like them, pop out of trees, out of the ground. Um, and so, what if when you're hearing the pop, it's themselves, in some way, it's like popping out of the tree, and you're hearing that pop, that bang, that somehow it comes up through the root system, because we talk about elemental spirits and how the spirits absorb all these different things that are part of the earth, and then and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just just speculating.
You got all these tales like will-o-wisps and spirits of the woods that and of course you got Bigfoot that kind of phases in and out of reality, or cloaks, what have you. Maybe we're digging for the same visual description, and that's how we're coming up with it. Like back in the day when people were seeing stuff that was popping up in their bedrooms, and waking up to ghosts and stuff. Some people saw demons, some people saw spirits and disembodied whatever. They described it with what they had exposure to at that time. So now that we're obviously having cloaking technology that is readily been talked about in the military, now we're using it's cloaking.
Yeah, did something give us that idea?
Yeah, true. But I kind of like that idea of the wood knocking. Maybe that is portal within the tree line, the trees itself, bushes, plant material popping open,
or themselves popping out of the tree itself. It's amazing.
Yeah.
From my experience, and this is why I've been held off on this, because this is more than just public criticism. There's consequences. Since all this has happened, my neighbors on both sides of my house have died. Numerous trees have died. I've had certain things happen in my life and with my son, and so for me, it's been. It's not just cathartic, but it's. I feel it's a responsibility for me to take this to the next level. I don't want any credit. I don't want to write a book about it. Sometimes I think about it, but I have never done it, and so it's just more fantasy and the ego. But I just take it to the next level because we've been so distracted and so intentionally or not misled. I'm trying to be diplomatic here, right? About what's really going on around us, right? And
I would drop the diplomatic and just go ahead and just say it. You're not going to hear me say, "Hey, man, you're totally out of it." The stuff that I write about my near-death experience, everyone that I have shared, there's a handful of people I shared the writings with. I'll say, "Hey, I think I'm crazy because I just wrote this, and it looks weirder than hell just to write it." Right. I feel like I just wrote down, I'm crazy.
You perceive yourself that way until you realize that everybody is.
Yeah, so
something has happened to us, and I think it's through religion, public school system. We call them the elite, the power brokers. They have, have steered us around like cattle, like chattel, like fish, and have taken us so far from maybe some people say what our experience here was meant to be fully. You know what I mean? And so when we perceive things that we don't understand many times as being evil and bad, and I'm not saying they're not, but we perceive that, and until we know fully, you know what I mean? So it's like one of the things of me hesitating sharing this stuff, because it talks about the many of the indigenous tribes, and I know the Ojibwas do, that if you see these things 3 times, the third time you're going to be dead. And I'm like, I don't mind going to the other side and being with our Creator. By the same token, I wouldn't mind being around for my son, at least see him graduate from high school. So, I don't want him to suffer from all this too, because I know that in my family there's something going on. At least with me and my big brother, we've had experiences And part of it could be psychological, and part of it could be due to the trauma and the dysfunctional family and all that. But I think there's more going on. My brother thinks that on my dad's side, where we get our Native American, that we had, for one thing, a great grandfather that was a Cherokee medicine man, and he thinks that there's some connection with that. But that's just speculation. How the heck do I know? How does he know that? You know what I mean? It's like, whatever it is. Also, I've always been a person until, I got sick. I liked the outdoors, right? I was nature, the outdoors. I love being outdoors. And is that something? I don't know. But anyways, I want to share one more thing with you guys, because I'm going to show how the diversity of the spirit realm around the trees are, and different sizes. Now, if we look at the next images here, this was filmed around that same time period, and I don't know if you got it. Well, you can see it's June 16, so this one had to be before, or the last one, which a week before, I guess that would be 5 days before. So I probably filmed this on the 15th of June. Oh, so this is not before, this is after. This is one of the images I filmed in June. Let's get my time right here. So we just saw the previous images were from May of this year. This is now from June, and this is time period when no, I can get my timing right. This is actually filmed in late May as well. I know that because you can see the helicopter seeds from the maple tree. So if you look at this. Now, I have not changed any of the color on this. I didn't try to alter any of the stuff. I wanted, and there was no movement on my part. This was taken on my P900 on a tripod. And see if I can expand that for us. And I want you guys to look at a couple of things. There's several entities here, but the two that are most important is this guy right here and this guy right here.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Now they are extremely small, because you can see it's the size of the leaves, and you can see the helicopter seeds of these entities, whatever they are. I call them spring maple spirits. It seems that when this time of year they're able to film these things. So anyways, you notice they'll have like this they're like a troll doll type things. They're weird. They almost seem like they have a mask, but they don't have a mask. They have like a Fu Manchu beard, and they have this crazy red hair, or like froish type. Can you see that? The hair? First of all, the reddish hair. And then
I can see the hair.
You can see this guy, here's the eye. You can see, and even see the eyelid. You can see where the like little round circle around the eyes. There's another one. You can even see kind of like a Fu Manchu beardish type thing. There's that mouth, and there's another one. Now I did enhance this. Actually, there's another entity with them too that's in the middle, but it's. The ones I'm sharing, what I'm sharing with you is very distinguishable. You can see the faces. You can see the whites of their faces. You can see the gray Fu Manchu beard. You can see it looks like beard because it just and there's the eyes, and so I mean
right there at the left-hand side of the picture, right next to the helicopter seed. Right there, right, yeah, that reddish right in there. That looks like something, right there. That you just circled.
There might be something there too, and you're more willing to take a still for that if you want. And you want to take that and see if you can find something in there. I mean, as long as you can see what I'm seeing, and if everyone else can see that there's something going on there. There's at least two entities here, right? Can we see that? And this is not leaves. And this is not helicopter seeds. These are, I don't know what the heck they are. But we don't, I live in Northwest Ohio on the border of Michigan, and we do not have monkeys. We don't have spider monkeys, and we don't have little baby monkeys.
All right.
So what is it?
No clue. No clue.
But it's a great example, once again, of the spiritual diversity that's within the trees. Now, some people say that Bigfoot, when they see big things big like this, they'll say that, you remember, I mean, you've probably heard this, descriptions of these Bigfoot having kind of like these features, right? The kind of flatted nose, the Fu Manchu beard, and the, red hair. I'm not saying they're Bigfoot. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying people have seen things similar to this. There's that one video that's been traveling around for a couple years now, and you'll see this Bigfoot, that's supposedly Bigfoot on all fours, and the guy's in his car, and it's for a few seconds. I don't know how long it's, and it's in the high grass, and it has like long Fu Manchu beard on both sides, and it ends up walking towards the guy, and the guy freaks out and takes off. Right? You know what I'm talking about? If you don't, I can find the video for you, but it's been around forever, and you've seen it, and everyone's seen it at this point. Has been paying attention. So, because some people say it's not real. I don't know. It looks kind of like what it is. So, and this is another picture of that same two entities, and you can see. Well, I don't know if you can actually see it, but if you look a little closer, there's other things going on. But what I'm trying to demonstrate to people is I didn't alter the color, contrast, lighting, or anything, and you can see the size of these things. There could be something right here, but I'm not going to say for sure, but it might be something right here too. And there's probably something right here too.
Well, you got a lot of, the reddish brown. Yeah, that kind of stands out in that field of green.
Now, this could be also a possibility. You see this one with his head, that this might be part of its body. I'm not saying it is, but it could be part of its body. If you can picture this. So here's the head, the face, and maybe this could be an arm. I'm not saying it is. Legs. It could be part of it. It could not. There's not enough detail for me to say definitively what it is, right? But we can say that there is something that looks like it has a head. And I notice a lot of these things that they talk about disembodied spirits. And maybe they were kind of talking these things or something like these things. Don't know. And then this is this same tree. And this will probably be the last thing I'll share with you guys. I don't want to overwhelm you with stuff because I'm pretty confident what I'm sharing with you, unless you're being shared specifically, Shawn, in private, these things, and be told not to share this stuff. I think I share some stuff that most people have never seen before. At least it's out and openly shared in the public. So
I can see a face in the right corner, probably about a quarter way down.
Can you see this is where the eye is? Where's my?
Yeah.
It's the eye. There's the eyebrow. Think of a gnome. There's the pointed head. There's his nose. It seems like it's like absorbed or biting or on top of this branch, but it's not. You can see it's not the branch. It's there you go. So I mean, I don't know if you guys can see the eyebrows to it, the eyes. This thing looks like it was moving to me. It wasn't staying still like the other ones. And so you have this, If you see, like right here, there's actually a blur, and there's like an eye right here. You see the eye, the iris? It doesn't seem to quite perfectly line up, but maybe it is, and maybe I'm just not seeing things right. But then there's another eye right here, and I don't know what it is, but it's not part of that tree. If it is part of that tree, it's coming out of that tree and is absorbed by the tree. Let's see what's... Is it Chelly? Is that how you pronounce it?
Shelley, yeah.
Shelley?
I've got the picture.
What does it say? High old religion, extraordinary perception and photos. Thank you. What do you think about axonal lines and energy at related to portals, cloaking, etc.? I sent Shawn a picture. Are we talking about like the ley lines and that kind of thing?
I'll show you the picture that she, so you can have a reference.
Well, I definitely, I didn't get a chance to photograph it, but I saw one open up. You know, the video, the images of the ones that looked like aliens.
Right.
Later on in
this is what she's
June.
Referring to, the energy lines.
Well, there you go. Now take that out of a human being and put it in a tree. And trees have like their own vascular system, their own. They do. They actually even have something very similar to a nervous system, and a human being too. But I'm probably missing what she's saying. But I can see like the chakras. Is this chakras? Possibility. Yeah.
I think they're pressure points and chi points and stuff like that.
Well, I think this is ancient wisdom that they've known in the East and for thousands of years, and I don't think it's wise of us to dismiss it. Of course, we got to be aware of such things as the Kundalini spirit, as they say. But then again, do we really know what we're saying when we talk about the Kundalini spirit? Do we really know what we're saying? So you know what I'm not gonna. That's my Christianity coming out of me, and I'm not saying I'm right, because those same people that warned me about that stuff, many of those same people deceived me and didn't know what they were talking about. So whether it was intentional or not, they did, and I'm not hating on them. It's just what is. But yeah, I mean, when you think about that, and does it have to be with pressure points, energy lines? We talk about chakra in the human body. Why can't there be something similar in other entities?
Well, what I got from the near-death experience was God liked to copy and paste, macro to micro. So, if it worked in one scenario, it worked in the other scenario. No matter what size, what dimension it is. So, yeah, I get what you're talking about. I don't know if that was clear as mud or what.
Yeah, I think it's really good for us not to be judging each other and dismiss what. How do you say her name again, or his name?
Shelley.
Shelley.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Or Shelley.
I never seen it spelled that way, so my apologies. I'm not trying to be a jerk. So Shelley, I don't think it's a good idea to dismiss what she's sharing. And at this point,
no, I'm not dismissing it at all. She's very up on her.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you're saying. I'm just saying, because there are going to be people who are going to like, oh, there's this new age stuff and all that. No, we have been so profoundly misinformed and disinformed and propagandized that we have to all be willing to start working together and brainstorm and figure out what's really going on and what our motives are. Why do we want to know the truth? I think that bringing that stuff up I think it's just like, look, when I started realizing that these things were coming out, the trees, And who was I talking to? Oh God, he's my friend and everything. Let me. This is my brain. I'm thinking about 20 different things here. What's his name? I gotta remember. Like we did like dozens of shows together. MK Davis. I'm sorry, MK. He'll probably never hear this, but MK. We were talking about this. And he did a video about when he was in California, ran across a was a Japanese investigator about Bigfoot. Or was it? No, it was Russian. And the Russian guy did a drawing for MK Davis, in which in the drawing he said they come out of the trees. Now this is a Russian saying that from a different part of the world. Native Americans are saying that. How are these things coming out of the trees? Now we look at what Shelley offered us. Maybe this is part of the answer. How they do it. As far as, because these, if these things are created primarily like energetic beings, if you will, spirit beings, whatever we say, why, and if they coming out of these trees and other life forces, how did they do that, and how they doing it? You know what I mean? What are they coming out of the? Like you're saying, a portal in a tree. Some would say chakra, and some would say something else. I mean, until we get down to brass tacks and start, maybe start respecting what our elders were telling us for thousands of years and stop listening solely to the quote unquote experts of our Western perception or perspective. I'm not saying that we should just abandon the scientific method, but we need to also broaden our horizons, right? And our application of the scientific method. And there's some reason why the mainstream media is not talking this way. Or it's always somebody that's, if they do talk this way, they're like telling you your future horoscope, or for $10 I'll tell you, I hear all this stuff. And people,
or I'll flip a card and say, hey, this card randomly says, hey, I got you. But
and they want to be gurus, and they want people to follow. And what I've noticed, people who are serious about what they're about, they're not after the following. They want to know the truth. The following will eventually come. It might not. And, true pioneers of the truth realize something. It's not about you and your generation. It's the next generation, and then the next generation. That's how it's built upon, right? But if we hide the truth in our generation, then we're delaying the next generation from getting to the next step of this, the next level of truth. I know I'm being philosophical now, but I see value in what I'm saying, and the value is somebody has to speak the truth. It's not just about entertaining each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's wrong to entertain each other, but it doesn't have to always be about, you can have that balance. You know what I'm saying, Shawn? Where you're investigating the truth and entertaining. But there has to be that balance.
True. Everybody's, on edge that, hey, I'm going to offend you. Okay, offend me all you want to. If I agree with you, I agree with you. If I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you, and vice versa. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you agree or disagree or are indifferent to me. There's a lot of stuff. I've got an open mind to where, heck, if you say something I don't quite agree with you, but later on I come across some stuff that makes what you just said make sense to me, and then I start agreeing with you, heck, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is try to be as honest as you can in your discovery and in your journey.
Right.
Let me see. And can I be wrong? Sure. Could I be right? Sure. I guess this would be the final one. If we can see, I think if we look closely at this, two images, this compilation, you can see actual movement in this entity, the big one, this one, and this one. You can see the difference in the eyes, the shine, the mouth, the position of the nose. And so you can see this not just... Well, all I can say is it to me, by the way, there's even more going on. Okay. It gets even more weird. I shouldn't laugh that way, but I shouldn't. Let's see if I can get expand this. Do you see because one of the things these entities do as well, they create totems. And I strongly believe that the true representation of totem poles were not just about coyotes and bears and eagles.
Right.
These entities I've seen numerous times now where they stack up. And a lot of times the way they stack up is somehow by popping out of the trees. So we see the alien dude looking one. By the way, there's one right there. If you look real close, looks just like a Bigfoot. If you look at this, his two eyes. And his beard and all that. You might want to screen capture that one. But right here.
Yeah, I got it.
You see right here? You see the one with the two eyes? It's almost got like feminine looking eyes. And it's got this head right here. You can see the two eyes. You can see the hairline, the forehead, and it's sticking out. And there's multiple entities. And at least from what I've discovered, what I've seen is that, by the way, this one right here, the next time if you did anything, it's still, there's something right here as well. And there's something right here. But in particular, there's an entity. But I don't want to distract you. It was just focus on. Well, take a still of that and look at it. There's multiple entities stacking up, going all the way up this tree. I've seen this numerous times now, where these spirits, when they're in these trees, popping out of these trees, they stack up. And that's why I say there's never just one. We might only see the one, right? Or we might only capture the one. Well, here's the other thing too. I discovered as well. It's just something I had to learn over the course of years. You don't really need to be messing with the image as much as people. Because what we do is we mess with the contrast and the lighting to really bring something. If it's real, you don't need to mess with it too much. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Does that make sense? And then we develop our skills between what is pareidolia and what is possibly something that's not. That's something that's real. That's it's out of place. And you will develop that. And I strongly believe that one of the reasons why they originally created the camera and photography is to do what we're doing right now. It was to film spirits. And people have, people have always been very interested in the spiritual realm. Spiritualism has always been very, very much an interest of people, and especially the elite. And if you just do start doing some basic research, and you'll start say the dots and saying, "Oh yeah, I can see why." In the 1900s, they started, once they had the technology, to start pushing cameras to film what people have been saying they've been seeing and witnessing and experiencing, right? and then
Mm-hmm.
you hear this. It's kind of like the what the CIA created for the um, conspiracy theory, right? After the JFK and all that stuff, assassination, and then now everything's a conspiracy theory, right? It's how we. It's even like how people say "God bless you." A lot of times people say that just to dismiss you. They're not genuine about it. They just dismiss you because they just want to get rid of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Conspiracy theory, and then let's go to pareidolia. I'm not saying pareidolia is not real, but it's like if you notice, and you've been around like myself, you've been around for 5, 6 more years. Um, I don't even remember when you started doing this. I know you started about the same time I did, right? Around 2015,
It was about,
2016.
I started back in about 5 years ago when I started.
So about the same, yeah, about 17, about the same
Mm.
time period. So you know
Yeah.
as well as I do, back in the internet days when when things were really blowing up on YouTube and everyone, you had all the experts criticizing everything and everyone was pareidolia, 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 and a lot of it was pareidolia. But you just this constant drumming of the message convinced people to dismiss everything. Oh, it's got to be pareidolia. But part of the problem is too was we didn't have the access even 5 years ago to the kind of cameras we have today, like a P900, P1000. The cameras are so much better, and it's such affordable. Just in the 5 years, as far as filming the stars, filming what's around you, so it is worth at this point to get a decent camera and a decent tripod, and I mean, if you want to film more of this stuff, there's consequences that come along with it, and the consequences are bigger than just people ridiculing you. You know what I mean? Or making fun of you, or dismissing you. You have to get, you know, you get used to being ostracized, right, and being silenced. Um, but the biggest thing is just you're going to deal with things personally in your life. They're much bigger, much more profound than being ostracized and made fun of, and and we're looking at it.
Well, society, like for MSN, the people that are trying to steer how we think, they've made us, adopt lazy thinking, which they give you the easy out. Well, that's not science. That, it's pareidolia or whatever. And, the big thing was those orbs that you capture on a lot of video. I agree, some of it is dust or bugs or whatever, but a lot of it just don't fit the bill. Period. But I've seen so many people, describe orbs as, hey, it's just dust or bugs. Majority of it is, and lazy thinking is just group all of it in that one, catch-all bag of, hey, it's just bugs or dust. That's it. It's just a happenstance anomaly that you can easily put it in there and nobody will question it after that. But you should question it. If everybody's saying the same daggum thing and you got a gut feeling, so no, it's not exactly right. I think you need to go with your gut feeling.
Well, yeah, well, that's some good advice, and it's
If
what
everybody's
are your
parroting
motives?
everybody else and you're kind of going, wait a minute, no, 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 no,
What are
that's
your
not right.
motives? Is this an ego stroke for you? Is this something so you can?
I think it's just lazy thinking. I won the argument because everybody else, uses the same answer. With pareidolia, or that doesn't pair up with science. Well, heck, last 2 years, how many times have that been thrown down your throat? Trust the science. Okay,
But
big deal.
usually it's somebody who's just now getting into this. I notice a lot of it's like young bucks with full of testosterone, and and you know they think they got it all figured out because they went to high school or maybe college and they got it all figured out. They really do. They don't know any better. It's only through time and experience you realize how little you actually learned and know after college. And that
Oh
all you
man,
did is
as soon as I got
to
out,
be the ticket to get on the bus, and that's about all you got out of it. You know what I mean? Then it's the real world, and you're going to have to learn a lot of things on your own. You know.
first 5 years out of college, I blew out the bell curve and stuff for bunches of tests and stuff. I thought I knew it all, but the first 5 years I had to relearn everything they taught me in college for medical.
So, oh yeah. In fact,
Yeah, it,
I had to go back to college. Now, what I had to do when I got into greenscaping and ecology, because I didn't like the direction I was going when it came to um, environmental science. I saw the corruption and the dishonesty, and it was all about just it wasn't about really cleaning up the environment. It's just about exploiting the situation for the most part. And from the EPA on down. So I said, I'm going to go into greenscaping, work with developers, and encourage people to start conserving or developing parcels of land, or bringing it back and restoring it. So I had to go find people, professors, and people with PhDs in botany, and etc., and pay them $25 an hour cash, come and teach me all this stuff, right? Because I could go back to school and waste all this time and spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars and know nothing about, or I could find real experts and do it. You know what I mean? And does that make sense? So I had to re-educate myself, just like you're saying. Everything that I learned, in the end, I either didn't want to do it or didn't apply to any of the jobs I had.
mm-hmm.
And so you learned, at least I did, that, no one's going to do it for me. No one's going to stand up for me. No one's going to, if I wanted to find out if, quote unquote, Bigfoot was real, and if we ever have this conversation, when I go through what I went through in 2017, 18, I realized I was going to have to go for it myself, and I wasn't going to be able to trust the big shots in the Bigfoot community. Which, by the way, when you think about it fairly and honestly, it was wrong for me in the first place to put all my hope and faith in a guy that maybe has a really popular Bigfoot channel and has all these scary stories. If I wanted to know if it was real, I was going to have to get off my butt and do it myself, you know what I mean? To the best of my ability. You know what I mean? And I discovered, too, because of MS, that I didn't have to go miles in the woods. In fact, I didn't have to go in the woods at all. Just like the elder said, beware of the edge of the forest. Beware of the edge of the woods.
I have found so many people that have captured so much off the deck of their porch. You're like the fifth one, and I've talked to in the last week. That one of them, Wendy Wilson, that's was in the chat. Heck, she's got all kinds of crazy Bigfoot spirit things popping in and out of her West Virginia home. There's another lady that I just come across, shared some stuff with her. I think she's in the Midwest somewhere. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head. She captured crap off her porch as well, right on the edge of the forest. Cracking Bigfoot howls. She suspects juveniles or, paying attention to her to a certain degree for whatever reason. But yeah, the edge of the forest makes perfect sense to me from the conversations I've had.
Yeah. How many people have had the experience just on a trail, even a paved trail? I've had experiences in cemeteries. They're on the edge of the forest. Experiences I wasn't expecting to have, and I wasn't like doing anything crazy. I was just open to experience it. You know what I mean? And so,
right.
we've got a lot to talk about. I hope we have more than one conversation with this because I have a
Yeah.
lot more images to share and stories to tell. And but I just don't want to be like this dude that shares scary stories. I guess, I'm not
You
saying
want
this.
some
I'm not.
substance along with it. Just
Yeah,
not
I
the
think it's
the
anybody
wow
that's.
factor.
I mean, you've been doing this for 5 years. You know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh my
Right.
gosh, how many more stories do I got to share? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with stories, but it's like, we do have the technology right now. It's at everybody's hands to film these things and capture these things if you want. We do have the knowledge to bring them in if you want and have that. But you must be told the whole story and what you're getting yourself involved in, because it's not just, I mean, we know of someone who just recently passed away who's into Bigfoot research, and I know personally that he had a hard time being honest about the whole picture, especially the spiritual side of things. But I know he knew about that spiritual side of things, and as investigators and as people who are, I do think that we have a responsibility. I mean, I want you just when you pay attention to this picture. Did you take a screen capture? I want you
Yeah, I've got.
to look at that, and there's more going on than meets the eye. I'll just put it that way. There's multiple entities in there, and there's something that's massive in there too, and it ain't the tree trunk itself. So, anyways, but the, there's more going on, and I think that we have to. I mean, I wish I was more articulate to express what's going on. I wish I had all the words and information to give to people, but I don't.
Right.
And I'm never going to have enough of it. But if we work together on this, for real, for once, instead of fighting each other and trying to, make names for you and say, oh, you're wrong, and this, I mean, listen, people have had these things manifest physically. They've seen it. These things have got hair, and there's also the spiritual side. It's a multi-dimensional thing we're dealing with, and we think we have to take sides like it's a religion, but we don't have to do that. We can say we're just
Right.
pursuit of the truth, wherever it takes us.
True. You got to drop. Be able to say, well, I know this is my wheelhouse. This is what makes sense. Be open to what might be on the other side of that fence, even though it does. What happens on the other side of the fence may uh, make what you believe is happening with these Bigfoot or whatever they may be, spiritual, physical, or a mix of both, or something altogether different. Who knows? Uh, I think you're going to butt heads just because of how society right now is. You're either on my side or I'll call you the big R word or whatever because you disagree with me.
It's like
Okay,
politics. It's like
whatever.
left and right.
That's the politics. Yeah, it's a Bigfoot politics.
It's
That's it.
religion. It's
There's
also
a
I call it the Bigfoot religion too. It's like, um, I mean, I see this. To me, it's clear what's happening at the very top of all this, quote unquote, the Bigfoot movement. We're being steered by some people that don't give two hoots about you and I.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. Just to look at I don't see how people don't see what's happening in society right now across the world, how it's been steered. I don't see. I think we're just ready to pop and a lot of power, not money. Power is about ready to change positions real quick, and it's going to catch everybody by storm.
Oh yeah, if people want to go to my YouTube channel, then you can find it. And it's about the king of the world, King Charles III, and you just see what's going on with the world in economic form, and all the agenda of they want to, in a nutshell, go back with the technology we have now and put us back into a feudalistic system like our ancestors were living in 150 years ago, 3 generations ago. But and it's not just my opinion. They're blatantly talking about it, and that's why all this we experienced in the past several years is about taking away of our rights, God-given rights, and keeping us from going anywhere. They're organizing or coming to our own a greater potential and independence and to help us flourish more as individuals and as a culture and society. They don't want that. They want this class system. They want it back the way it was. And I mean, it's unfortunate that's the way it is, but until we wake up collectively about it, they're going to keep pushing the envelope and keep pushing and taking a little bit here and a little bit there until before you know it, there's nothing left.
Right.
And
well, Mike, I appreciate you dropping in, buddy. It's already 10 minutes after midnight on my end of the clock. So,
well, I hope it wasn't a waste of your time. And
no, I enjoyed it. It actually turned out to be a really good conversation. I enjoyed it. I'd love to have you back on, or whenever you're doing your show over on TikTok or YouTube or whatever you're doing live, I'll pop in.
TikTok is not really working for me, so I don't know what to do with TikTok. I mean, for you it might be a good thing, but for me it's.
I've just done one live, and that was last Saturday night, and it was more. It was easy to do, but it was more of a hassle to get the stuff and set up. It was just another line to throw out there that didn't really culminate to anything. I don't know. I'll figure it out sooner or later. I think right now it's just a resource to see what's been posted out there for
I don't know
weird.
If we'll be able to have the potential to have the conversation we just had tonight on TikTok. That's all I got to say. There's an awful lot of
I kind of seen that a lot of people get shut down real quick over there just because it's a fun game to shut you down.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if they agree with you or know what the hell you're talking about. It's just a game.
I can come back next Wednesday or whatever. I don't want to hog your space, but you let me know. I mean, I will talk.
Yeah, I'll have you back on in a heartbeat.
If you're willing to let me be honest, I'll go from what happened all 2017 and 18. It'd be at least 2 hours just to go through. I mean, it's a bizarre journey. It's unique, but maybe it's not. It's unique mind, but it's. I think a lot of people will relate to it anyways, because they'll see like, oh yeah, that's what happened to me. That's how I opened up that window. That's how I. This is how these things happen. So, and yeah, man, thanks for 3 hours. Thanks for just listening. Even if this is never even published or whatever, that doesn't matter to me. It's what matters is you gave me the chance to talk and share some images without people, without trying to destroy me or mock me. You know what I mean? I appreciate that, man.
No, man, it's great. You actually opened me to another line of thinking about the tree knocking and stuff. So that actually makes a whole hell of a lot more sense than, hey, this is communication that we're communicating from one Bigfoot to the other. That actually might be the crack of a door of a portal being opened up within a tree or the forest itself.
Yeah, we never see the logs that they're, we never see, no one else. I mean, I don't know anybody who's ever, maybe you do, but I don't know anybody who's actually witnessed a Bigfoot knocking on a tree with a big baseball bat.
I have never heard anyone say that they've actually looked at the rough surface of a tree to say, hey, this was been knocked, other than some yahoo taking a baseball bat and knocking inside of a tree, trying to mimic what they're hearing in the woods.
So it could be more appropriate to say a tree popping, not knocking.
Possibly. It's all frequency anyway. From my perspective, it could be the frequency of the force popping open, and that's what we're
brilliant,
hearing.
man. Think about electricity, how that could actually do that. You're absolutely right. If it's like electrical charge of some sort, it would do that. It would make a popping sound. Does that make sense what I'm saying? In other words, you use a direct electrical charge against something like wood or whatever, it would make sense too, because many of these trees you'll see, like, 6-7 feet up in the air, it's broken up there, right? Whatever it could be, just to get the general height. And people say, we always assume it's a Bigfoot grabbing on the thing and breaking it over, right? But if that's where it's popping, I'm not saying it's always the case, but it's possible that there could be a connection to it, right? Where these trees are just break right in the middle.
Right.
A pop.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But I'll get with you after in the next few days and see when we can have another conversation wherever the venue is. So we'll do that. I appreciate you being on the show, Mike.
Yeah, same to you, Shawn. Thank you. Thanks for being there, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Fantastic.
I'll mute myself.
All right. Well, folks, what I usually...
You're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind.